My wife's Prius got rear-ended a few weeks ago, and when I got on the scene, this whole bumper was hanging down and just managed to kind of get it back up, screwed it into place in one place because the bumper's wrecked. But today, I'm going to pull this thing off and do a little exploration and see what all needs to be done right here on Dandy Does It. So my wife had a little accident in her Prius. A girl rear-ended her on a local street only a few blocks away from home. I get there, the girl's dad's on the scene, my wife's bumper's hanging down, the girl's car is completely totaled, and we thought we might have worse problems with the Prius, but it was just the bumper hanging off, and it looked like the impact bar underneath is kind of tweaked. So we do the whole insurance thing. We take it around to different collision repair places and found one place that gave a pretty good estimate and did a real thorough inspection of it. And thankfully, there are no safety issues here, which is what's really important. So my wife gets the settlement check for the amount of the estimate, and I'm going to do the repairs because I work cheaper than they do, and we want to pocket the difference and put the difference towards the next vehicle. I know you're saying, hey, that's not ethical, but you know what? I'm the one doing the repairs, so why should I not get paid for doing them? Right? Okay, so we're going to take this cover off right here and see what's going on underneath. And right here, in the wheel well, there's a 10 millimeter bolt that we need to take off. Remember, when it's coming towards you, it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. Let's get that bolt off. And then we'll do the other side. And then most everything should just pop right off the clips. And just a little trim clip right down there. We're going to get that off with our little trim clip tool. The other side's already popped off from the collision. Apparently there's a couple of trim clips down here. So in addition to the one that was up under the wheel well, I got off two other 10 millimeters. They also have Phillips heads in them, so you could use a screwdriver as well. A couple of trim clips. And I just discovered while trying to pull this bumper off that there is another 10 millimeter bolt right back here. So I'm going to be going under the whole length of it and finding them wherever they are and just removing them. And I'm not really finding anything else holding this side on, so I'm hoping, yes, it should just pop right off at this point. Let's go work on the other side. Finally got all the trim clips off there, and the last one was a real booger, but I got it now, and off comes the bumper cover, and we can see what we're dealing with. And as you can see, that impact bar is bent down pretty good, but we're going to get it off there and check out the mounts and see if anything can be straightened out. And apparently one of the mounting bolts for that impact bar just sheared right off in the accident. Now, in order to get the impact bar off of the mounts, I've got to be able to get a socket up here to where it goes in, but since the impact bar is all bent down, I can't really get a straight shot at it. So instead, what I've decided to do is unbolt the mounts themselves, which are 12 millimeter. And these bolts appear to be coming off with relative ease. Sometimes it just makes more sense to go and do things the old-fashioned way. And after getting the two top bolts off from that mount, I discover a third one underneath. That's not it. Where is it? Yes, it's right there. Let's get it. Got the third bolt off, and as you can see, the mount is just sitting in these prongs. There's one on each side, and it's going to have to lift up and off of that. All the bolts are now off. Now the moment of truth to see if I can lift this thing out of here or if I'm going to have to use some friendly persuasion. and got it. And where the mounts go in, everything looks just fine there to me. But as it turns out, I cannot get to the nuts on these bolts now because it's tweaked to get the mounts off. And as we learned earlier, one bolt already was sheared off the mount. So basically, a new impact bar and 2 new mounts and a bumper cover. And that should do it for us. We should be able to get away with that. And we've got this kind of what you call a mounting clip or bracket, as it will, one on each side. And a piece did break off of that in the impact. But I think we've got enough of it left here that I'm not really going to worry about that so much. I'm going to see what I can do to try to get that back in there and try to get it secured. But for right now, I'm going to just kind of maybe tighten this thing up a little bit and maybe just put a screw right through the middle of that thing where it's supposed to go. And maybe a little epoxy or something. And that, my friends, is redneck engineering at its finest.
2 weeks later.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since we took the back bumper and the impact bar off the Prius. And instead of going to the pick and pull yard, we decided instead to order the parts off eBay. And the reason is because it takes a lot of time to go to pick and pull yards and things like that. And you never know if you're going to end up with the right thing or what you came to look for, or if you're going to impulsively buy all kinds of other stuff and eat up half your day. So it was much easier just to order the parts we needed off of eBay. And we've got 2 of the 3 things we needed. Well, I haven't opened the boxes yet. That's what I'm about to do here. This should be the impact bar with the mounts. And behind me, and I'll get to that in a minute, should be the bumper cover, and it should be the correct color already. And the only thing we're still waiting on should be the bottom bumper support. But even that's supposed to arrive today, but even if it doesn't, we can at least get these 2 items on if they're correct and just wait on the bottom support. It'll be fine for however long it takes for that final little piece to get there. It's just that the bumper won't be as tight and secure as it otherwise would be, but it'll be fine for putting around town in the meantime. Anyway, break out my razor knife and let's open this. And yes, it does have the mounts. And this impact bar does appear to be a used impact bar. Pretty sure I just sent my wife a link, and I think she procrastinated for a week, but then just used the same specs I used to go and find her own parts. But this has definitely been used, but certainly doesn't look to be in bad shape. So that's what's important. It's going to get covered up anyway. You can just tell because there's a tiny bit of surface rust, and absolutely none of that matters for our purposes. So impact bar check. And this should be our bumper cover, hopefully in the correct color. Important, read before opening. Allow the part to unfold for a few hours. So in other words, they want us to not install this right away. Oh, it most certainly is folded. Huh, interesting. No wonder it was, I expected it to be bigger, but yeah, the ends of this thing are folded. Paint looks correct. Paint looks pretty too. Let's say they certainly protected it well. Well, it appears to be the correct color, but yes, it most certainly is folded. Not any damage to the paint or anything like that, but inspect it a little closer here. Oh yeah, it's just folded along where it goes on the back of the car. So, you know what? I'm going to expand it out. I'll put something in there to keep it spread apart, and I will let it uncontract for a few hours as the instructions say. And our front hedge appears to be just the perfect width and the perfect pressure. So I'm getting ready to put the impact bar on. So after struggling with this thing for quite a while and having no success, having limited success because the accident made the surface where the mounts mount to kind of warped, and I'm having a lot of trouble getting my wrench in here. So I had to take off the foam pad, and I'm going to get to the bolt and separate the mounts from the impact bar. And this 9/16 spark plug wrench appears to do the job just fine, because I do need something kind of deep well. So I'm going to get in there and remove separate this from the mounts and see if I can have better luck. Oh, I think it's really on there. Managed to get the impact bar off the mounts. Now I got the mounts up here, and let's see if I can have a little better time getting these things attached. Oh yeah, I should have done this from the start. So I got the mounts on. The mounts are on, and here's why they wouldn't go in. Because of the impact from the accident, it bent in the very bottom here, and so see that bolt's got to come through here to there, and the bolts are just too short to reach. See that? See this? Oh, okay, let's see. It's not reaching the hole. But anyway, the mounts themselves are positioned the way they should be. And we've got 2 bolts at the top, and they are nice and secure. And the purpose of an impact bar is to absorb impact. You think about it, that's its job. So it's going to, in an impact, this would bend down and absorb more impact. So really nothing wrong with this. It's in place, it's going to hold the bar, and that's what's important. It's going to be there in case another accident happens. It's made to bend down, crush, and get out of the way. This is aluminum, so if it's real bad, that'll, kind of crush in and absorb. Plus, it's got the foam, which will absorb a lot too. Anyway, I'm gonna go toss this baby on and see if we can get it secured and wrap up this job. Please line up, and it does line up. The best way to get these nuts started is to put them into the socket and start them by hand. These nuts are on. Don't tell my pastor. The nuts are all started. Get them tightened up. I'm just going to get them snug, and then I'll come back and put a proper tightening on them. Put the foam on. Slaps right in there. I don't think this would go anywhere because the bumper cover is going to be over it and should press against this. But just for good measure, I think I'll go ahead and do once around with the tape. There we go. The impact bar is officially on, and now we can put our new bumper cover on, which has been sort of expanding for about an hour. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bolt that thing in place anyway. This is a pretty bumper cover. There's 2 mounting screw points, one here, one on the other side. I think that's the perfect place to start with this. They've got these screws with these little rubber grommets here, and that just seems like the natural place. That way it can just kind of hang there. Kind of clunky and awkward. This is definitely not as simple as one might believe it to be. I'm sure this is easy for someone who might do this all the time, but I'm not that guy. And the rest should go much, much easier. Should. Much better. I guess I'll just go around the vehicle and fasten stuff. Yeah, we're all done for right now. There's many holes underneath where I simply just ran out of trim clips. So maybe I'll pick up some more and fasten it better, but that's on there pretty darn secure. And if I do say so myself, that looks pretty darn clean. I had to use a little bit of redneck engineering here and there. Like there's one place where a screw was supposed to go, but there was no hole in this bumper. So I kind of had to create my own hole. It was underneath where no one will see it, but just to secure it better. And then a part where trim clip's supposed to go into there, but it was all, pushed in. There's a metal piece that comes out, and the trim clip's supposed to go. And so I couldn't quite get them to line up right, and I ran out of trim clips anyway. Used a couple of zip ties. So anyway, there you go. And that is my adventure of replacing the impact bar mounts and rear bumper cover for a 2011 Toyota Prius.